Hi everyone and welcome back to the S&P Saga, your weekly recap of the S&P 500 index. We'll reveal the winners and losers that drove 76% of the index performance and which companies will announce earnings next week. Tech and communication giants took a beating this week, offset by healthcare and consumer defensive stocks making a comeback. As usual, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to understand how individual stocks impact the S&P 500. Let's jump right into this week's review. The S&P 500 closed the week at 6,013.13 cents, down 1.7% from last week and losing $798 billion of market cap. The PE ratio, based on current price and latest earnings, stands at 30.09, down 0.50 points since last week. Let's go to your gainers. Lilly, last week's loser, up $27.1 billion or 3.4%, as the company announced a $550 million inventory buildup in anticipation of its new oral weight loss pill. Procter & Gamble, up $17.2 billion or 4.5% on no specific news. Texas Instruments, up $17.1 billion or 10.3% on no specific news as well. Merck, up $16.4 billion or 7.8% on no specific news. AbbVie, up $15.9 billion or 4.7% on no specific news. Johnson & Johnson, up $14.9 billion or 4% on no specific news as well. Apple is up $14.3 billion or 0.4% on no specific news. Note that the company just launched its new budget iPhone 16e. Pepsi, up $13.9 billion or 7.1% on no specific news. The company announced the closure of its Liberty, New York manufacturing plant, resulting in nearly 300 layoffs. Analog Devices, up $12 billion or 11.3% after reporting Q1 2025 revenue that exceeded expectations, raised its quarterly dividend by 8%, and expanded its share repurchase authorization by $10 billion. Coca-Cola, up $10.6 billion or 3.6% as the company launched a new line of probiotic sodas under the Simply brand. Moving on to your losers. Meta, down $134.6 billion or 7.2% as investors locked in their gains from the stock's recent performance. Amazon is down $128.2 billion or 5.3% on no specific news. Note that workers at a North Carolina warehouse voted against unionizing, a win for the company. Nvidia is down $109.1 billion or 3.2% on no specific news. Walmart, down $74.2 billion or 8.9%, reported strong quarterly earnings but issued a cautious outlook for fiscal 2026, citing potential consumer spending slowdowns and tariff impacts. Broadcom, down $67.4 billion or 6.2%, following reports that the company might be considering acquiring part of Intel. Alphabet, down $64.6 billion or 2.8% on no specific news. Tesla, down $58 billion or 5.1% as investors continue to fear that CEO Elon Musk's political focus might distract him from his role. United Health, down $52.4 billion or 10.9% as the company faced a civil fraud investigation by the US DOJ into its Medicare billing practices. JP Morgan, down $39.9 billion or 5.1% on no specific news. And finally, Palantir, down $33.7 billion or 12.4% as the company's CEO, Alex Karp, adopted a new plan to sell up to 10 million shares and reporting of potential US defense budget cuts related to Doge. This week, there were no changes announced to the S&P 500. Q4 2024 earnings continue, with 45 members releasing earnings last week and 144 companies left to report. 55 S&P 500 members will release earnings during the week ending February 28, 2025. And the most interesting will be Berkshire Hathaway over the weekend, Home Depot and Intuit on February 25th, and finally Nvidia, TJX Companies, Lowe, and Salesforce on February 26th. Which company do you think will top the list next week and why? Let us know in the comments below and subscribe for our weekly updates. To find out why Nvidia and Apple were up last week, you should watch this video next.